Hello, this is Heisenberg.
Hey there, this is G Forever.
Yes, we're here to review the new movie, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. So I've seen the movie once so far, G Forever. How often have you seen it?
I just saw it a second time. I wasn't sure if I was going to. I thought I may be a one and done type of deal, but yeah, that's my second time yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's start with let's start with the positives. Like
Sure.
what did you like the most about the movie?
I like that it was more of the kind of focused on more of the monster scenes. Definitely a lot of more Titans, a lot more monsters. What else? I
Yeah,
guess
we got some new Titans.
new Titans. Yep.
So how many new
They're
Titans were there? Because there was like the main one, of course, is Shimu,
mm-hmm.
and then
And
but there was
Scar
also
King.
that one that lived under the iceberg, right?
Yep, Tiamat is actually from the Legendary comics, and she also appeared in the DC comics Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, cool.
I haven't read so I have the Legendary comics, but I can't remember too much about it. It's been a few years, but the when she's in the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, there's a lot of good artwork in it. So I enjoyed that. And then
Yeah,
there's also Skilla from in the beginning, the kind of spider-like crab with the squid tendrils in the mouth. So she was also in the movie. There's actually a lot of female Titans, if you think about it. So Skilla, Tiamat, and Mothra are the female Titans, and Shimu. Shimu is
Shimu,
also
yeah, yeah,
female.
yeah.
Yep.
And of course, Scar King is new as well.
Yes, Scar King, and a bunch of they call them the Great Apes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah.
the we saw the return of Doug. Also the was it the War Bats and also the War Hawks made some return. Some new, I think the camo colored, I don't remember the name, but kind of like bird type um monsters. And there were the war dogs, war dogs or something, I think.
Yeah, I think War Dogs.
War Dogs, and then there was also the frog. I don't remember the name, but I think Monogram has the official name of that frog.
Hmm. Yeah, cool. Oh, yeah, yeah. So what did you think of the yeah, so it was definitely more monster focused. It's like more focused on like yeah, of course, what they call it, Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth, yes.
Yeah, very much more focused on Hollow Earth. And actually like that, and so we saw the return of some of the human characters from the
Yep.
previous movie, and then I think a few new ones. Actually, oh, what's the name of her character? The one, actually, it's like I was glad to see the one young woman who was like the girl in Godzilla versus
Gia,
Kong.
right?
Gia. Yeah, I was glad to see
Yes.
Gia return. I
Yes.
was glad to see that, the character and the
Yeah.
actress.
Yes, yeah, she's the one I think pretty much held the movie together. For me at least, I think this movie definitely was
Yeah.
quite wild.
Yeah, and also I actually do like the African American character who's like
Yeah, yeah,
more
he's
like the
good
comic
too.
relief.
The
So
comic
yeah, I thought he
relief.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did. He had like a good,
Bernie. Yep.
yeah, Bernie. Yeah, I like Bernie. It's like
Yep.
I was glad to see Bernie again.
Yes.
Didn't really miss who is it? Millie Bobby Brown. What's her name? Millie
Yep.
Bobby. Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown was not back, but I didn't. That was okay. Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, but I don't know. It's like I actually went in with low expectations,
Mm.
but I was hoping, like, especially with Scar King looking kind of like tall and athletic, I was hoping for good monster fights.
Mm.
So what did you think? What did you think of these monster fights here, G Forever?
Very short and um not so climactic climactic. The first Scar King battle was actually pretty decent, fighting Kong in the subterranean area, but I think the few like the kind of all the other fights with Scar King, he seemed very weak, and he did not seem like a threat that will end the Earth to me. I think King Ghidorah or Mechagodzilla, that those two were definitely more threatening, and I think
Mhm.
put up a better fight for Godzilla and Kong.
Yeah.
In this movie, the fights of the other Titans, like Skilla and Tiamat, they were great, but it was just way too short. It just kind of reminds me of Final Wars. You just kind of go through every character, and just blast them to the smithereens. And I did not enjoy the monster gore, like when Kong rips the boar dog and Godzilla blowing up Skilla. I think it's just overkill. I guess, maybe the some fans would enjoy it, but I just feel like they kind of put too much focus on that rather than extend the monster fight scenes. I think I would have enjoyed. I can see Skilla doing, some more fight, and Tiamat could have put up a better fight than what she did in the film.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the gore, it was all rather tame too.
Mm.
Because they sort of like the blood was green, for example.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Uh, the And so I definitely had it's like I think they definitely seem to want to keep it like kid friendly, not too
Kid friendly,
scary.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
actually I think which I was disappointed in because one thing that always stuck out to me about the original like Toho Godzilla movies is that there were these moments that were like kind of scary.
Mm.
Like maybe there would be something that would be kind of like a little graphic and a little scary.
Mm.
When Godzilla like bled, it was red blood.
Yep.
Uh, so I thought, I always thought the Godzilla movies tended to have a bit of an edge to them,
Yes.
which wasn't here. But yeah, with the fights, I thought they were like, see, I didn't like the way they were like filmed. So I was disappointed with the fights because I sort of went in with the movie with low expectations, but I thought,
Same.
okay, I think, okay, but the fights are going to be good because I thought the fights in Godzilla versus Kong 2021 were
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, that
So I was
was very
like,
good.
oh yeah, yeah, because they were very physical.
Yes.
Uh, but here I thought it's like just the way they filmed. I thought often the camera was too close. Like it was too
Mm.
close up where you couldn't like really see well what was going on and there was like
Mm-hmm.
the edits were too fast and the
Mm-hmm.
fights were not physical enough. It's like
Yes.
what was great about Godzilla and Kong in 2021 is that it was a very physical fights. Like
Yes.
starting from the very beginning, Kong punches Godzilla. So here we got like a nice physical fight where they're really like going after each other,
Uh-huh.
really well. And so this fight wasn't physical enough. And again, most of the fights were like not long enough. I think all the fights were not long enough.
Yeah.
And there were too much like people using their
Anti-gravity.
beam
Uh,
effects.
okay.
Oh yeah, well, there's all the attributes. But yeah, it's like, because the one thing I don't like about the Heisei movies is like, it's like, okay, you got the two like really cool looking monsters, but what do? They stand there and they shoot their beams at each other. It wasn't wrestling. It wasn't two
Uh-huh.
guys in suits wrestling each other,
Yeah.
even though it was two guys in suits. Two guys in suits standing there while
Mm.
they added like the beam special effect.
Beams, yeah.
So yeah, I really liked in 2021 Godzilla X Kong, like a very physical fight.
Yeah.
Here I thought they relied on the heat ray too much. Like it's like okay,
Yes.
it's like here we are, we're fighting, and then all of a sudden Godzilla grabs the monster and does the heat ray, and then the fight's over.
Yeah, and it's the
Uh,
same thing repeated over. Godzilla just blasts Skilla in the face, blasts Tiamat in the face, and then just kind of blasting Shimo and blasting around
yeah,
Scar King and
and
Kong.
and
Yeah.
Shimo really didn't have a lot to do except
She didn't do
use her
much.
freeze ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was supposed to like shoot your freeze ray, and then
Yeah.
but yeah, so that was a little disappointing.
And they made Godzilla way too powerful. He didn't seem to have any trouble fighting anyone. He probably could have took down both Scar King and Shimo, maybe even all the apes on his own. I think he just spew his new pink heat ray and just cut everyone in half. Because it seemed like Shimo didn't seem that all powerful either. She had the ice beam, but Godzilla broke out of the ice very quickly. It's not like he goes paralyzed for some time. Scar King just had no powers other than controlling Shimo with this little crystal. Without the crystal, he seemed like he'll be very easily defeated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The so we did so but again we did see some like kaiju like portray uh some new kaiju. Oh, then Mothra showed up. They tried to keep that a surprise, so it was leaked a little
Yes.
bit. We tried not
Hmm.
to, even though it was leaked a little bit, and it was also teased in one of the trailers. We tried to keep
Hmm.
quiet about it because we didn't want
Yep.
Toho or Legendary coming after us. But yeah, like what did you think of Mothra when you saw her role in
So
the
I
movie?
really enjoyed Mothra's return, but at the same time, I can definitely see that she was not originally planned for the movie. After I actually discussed with some local fans, a Titan called Phosphera was supposed to be the Mothra's role, but they replaced her with Mothra after the test screenings. And I can see sort of it makes sense because Mothra has already established that symbiotic relationship with Godzilla. So that makes more sense that Mothra would break the fight between Godzilla and Kong. But at the same time, I didn't like how they kind of you know, she just came out of thin air in adult form. Mothra, in my sense, should always be from egg, larva, cocoon, and then adult form, and not just appear out of thin air. A very missed opportunity, though. I did like the idea of the Iwi girl from Skull Island. If they rather than have a queen, they should have had a like another Gia in Hollow Earth, and then you have the two girls that's
Hmm.
kind of representing the Mothra twins.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
think
interesting.
if yeah, I think if Adam Wingard really want to play what do you call it, like a tribute to the Showa films. I actually he kept saying Showa films, Showa references, but I just feel like this is not really, it's more like the superhero fighting. It's not really
Yeah, I
the
didn't really, yeah,
I
because
didn't
these,
feel Showa at all, in my
yeah, I
opinion.
didn't
It's
really
more like
get the,
Final Wars.
yeah, I didn't really get a lot of Showa vibes either. It didn't really like trigger any Showa nostalgia for me.
Yeah. There was no
There's a,
like Godzilla jumping or doing that drop kick. Like if something like that, I can see why the Showa influence or something. Godzilla wasn't pink in the Showa era either, so I can see if there was some Showa colors or something, but
yeah,
I
but
didn't understand it.
so it did have like this sort of like this tribe of people,
Yeah.
which is kind of like a show element,
Yeah, I
but
guess so. Yeah.
but yeah, still, it's like it didn't really trigger nostalgia for me. There was one a scene that did for I don't even know why that did trigger nostalgia, which is basically after Gia like frees Mothra, and there's one like moment where she's like standing up like up on a like up high. So she's like,
Hmm.
and she's got them all, the kaiju around her. I think she's got, I forget who exactly, but Mothra's there, and so is Kong, and maybe Godzilla too. And she's just kind of like standing there, like by the monsters. So it's like that scene I really liked for some reason.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't even I don't even know why, but that sort of like image, that image of
Mm.
like Geo with with the friendly
In
kaiju.
in Egypt, right?
No, this is after. I think it's still in like I thought it was still in Hollow Earth. But maybe it was in Egypt.
I think it's
Yeah,
Egypt. If
okay.
the break it's right after they broke up the fight, I think.
Yeah,
Godzilla
but
looks
she's
down at her and
oh,
Big
okay, could
Mothra's in the
be.
background. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's kind of like there. But I thought that was good.
Hmm.
So yeah, I like that. I like that one like visual. Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, it's like I was hoping for. I said it's like I thought it's like the fights were so good with Godzilla versus Kong 2021. We're gonna at least get good fights here.
Yeah.
The fights were not good, so I was like, and there wasn't much else to like the fact that it's all CGI. I don't like.
Yeah.
Like it's like I
Yeah.
really like. I think that really like takes the weight out of it.
Yes.
It ends up like it's just sort of like in the noise, and it was a kind of a noisy movie. It's just like
Yeah.
okay, here's crumbling, like here's all this like like CGI dust as they're like fighting around, and it's all
Uh-huh.
like and the no, sound effects just sounded just kind of like banging noises, like just kind of
Okay.
loud. It was
Yeah.
all just kind of like so it wasn't all that. So it actually struck me as kind of like a B movie, like sort of like beneath,
Mm.
yeah, something that would actually be beneath like Legendary and beneath
Hmm.
Toho. It was more like
Yes.
it felt to me more like a like an independent something an independent studio would make as a Godzilla,
Hmm.
Kong ripoff.
Yeah.
Like a more like a low budget ripoff. So
Yes.
I was like yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there were very few human characters. They introduced Tapper, right? I think he's the only new character. I mean, there was a few like secondary characters. You just see them for a few seconds, but there's pretty much there's no story other than going to Hollow Earth and
And again, it's
uh
all rather arbitrary too. It's like I really maybe you've seen it twice, maybe you understood it. I didn't understand like why the people want like the people in Hollow Earth why they wanted to like turn off gravity because it's like they decide okay we're going to turn off gravity we're going to like touch the crystals together that'll turn
yeah.
gravity off and like the Bernie's like oh I know what they're doing and he's all excited about it and it's like well what's the point of turning
What's the
off
point?
gravity it's like yeah
I
so
but
I think the director's point is like yeah we can have like fun visuals of like
yes,
of
yeah.
everybody floating
Godzilla
around
floating around.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we get the visuals of floating around, but otherwise, in terms of story or like of story, it seemed to me there seemed to be no point to it.
Yep. I believe it was just to keep the those apes from getting into the portals to above ground.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I feel like they just destroyed the Monsterverse, to be honest, because there was a lot of storyline that was kind of building up, and this kind of like breaks like the Monarch Apple TV show. Like they were building all this story and everything, and I just feel like this is completely different. Um, yeah, so it's a fun, I guess if you're, so what I've seen, I've talked to other like diehard fans such as Kay and Lin. He sees that non-fans really enjoyed this film a lot because it's very funny. You're seeing Godzilla doing these like jumps and everything like his his friends and non-fan friends really enjoyed the film, but I think hardcore fans may struggle with it more.
yeah, yeah. I think hardcore fans like us, it's like we've seen better.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the yeah, yeah. It's actually I guess worldwide the movie's actually
It's
doing pretty
doing
well.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
worldwide it's
good.
making
Yeah.
money. So yeah, Wingard actually might make a third one at some point, though probably
Yes.
not
Yeah.
right away because he's got a list of other movies that he's like
Hmm.
planning to make,
Yeah.
non-Godzilla movies. So
Yeah.
so yeah,
Another
we'll
thing
see.
is this is another Kong focused film. I know he keeps
Mm.
saying that Kong is an ape and relates to humans, but Godzilla's the really big name and we all are coming out to see Godzilla. So I'm hoping if he does make a third one, like please, make it a little bit more
Yeah.
Godzilla focused.
Oh yeah, Godzilla had a pretty small role in this.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, I sort of get the idea of like making a Kong focus because the idea that yeah, Kong's more humanoid, so has more
Hmm.
emotion. So the idea is like you can like kind of hopefully like relate to his character better. But
Yeah.
but
But
yeah, it's
I
like I
want
mean they were
to
trying, but I
yeah.
wasn't really all that gripped. It's like okay, Kong's like lonely. But
Uh-huh.
it's like I was never too invested in this Kong. Like I'm really
Yeah.
invested in the original 1933 Kong. I
Hmm.
thought again, it's like that worked really well. I think people keep wanting to recreate that
Hmm.
movie in various ways. Like people keep trying and don't
Yeah.
succeed, which I find interesting.
Yeah. But to me, like I feel like in 2019, like Michael Dougherty was able to get Godzilla to have a lot of emotion. Like when Serizawa especially that scene when Serizawa says goodbye, old friend, you can see the emotion between Godzilla and the humans. And even after the scene after he gets after the atomic bomb was exploded, he comes out of the ocean and he looks at the humans and he understands them.
Yeah, yeah, and that was with
So
yeah, motion capture too. That was
motion capture, yeah.
yeah, that was TJ Storm, like
Yes.
investing Godzilla with like yeah, with yeah, real personality.
Hmm.
Yeah, like this was I think a purely CGI Godzilla,
Yeah.
which again I think worked okay in 2021, but
Hmm.
here I think it's suffering
It
from it.
definitely is. It
Yeah,
just
yeah,
feels like another Hollywood like popcorn movie. It didn't have much substance. The Shimo and Scar King designs to me are just mediocre. I feel like it's definitely not a Toho or Japanese kaiju style, I would say. They look very I would just say like a normal like a giant orangutan and a giant maybe lizard with some crystals thrown on the back. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's very
yeah,
generic, like not unique enough and not menacing as a Japanese kaiju.
yeah, yeah. So the yeah, yeah. So also, but so my hope is, so yeah, at this point, it's like if they, I think of all the, yeah, it's sort of like the earlier, like Monsterverse movies that I think I enjoyed more. I enjoyed the
Yes,
original 2014
14.
Godzilla. I
Kong
liked,
Skull Island
I liked
was
Kong Skull
great.
Island quite a bit, like
Yep.
especially like Kong fighting the helicopters.
Yep.
So I wish that director would come back and like do
Yep.
more.
Yeah,
And
I'm surprised like he really did a great movie and he got a great cast. I think he had a lot of Marvel human actors involved,
yeah.
so that was great.
But yeah, I was happy. Well, I was like, yeah, I was pretty happy with 2019
Hmm.
King of all.
2019 is my ultimate favorite of the Monsterverse.
Yeah,
I
well, I was
feel
glad.
Yeah. Michael Dougherty definitely like know what he's doing. He had the Godzilla theme, the Mothra theme, and the music in this one is I just it's not memorable at all.
No, no.
It's almost like a reusing music from like from the last film.
Yeah.
Um
Well, yeah, it's like I also wish the fights were better in 2019 because they sort of like it was like okay, they're facing
mhm.
off, and then now all of a sudden we're gonna look at the human. We're gonna cut to the human who's like running around by their feet. It's like no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. Like
We don't
that
care
I did
about the
like.
human, right?
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I liked so with Godzilla X Kong. Actually, in some ways, I did like with Godzilla X Kong. Really liked the yeah, like the fights and like what bothered some people about the movie. It didn't bother me, and I like the fact that it was so colorful too. Like the fact
I
that
was fine with the color. Yeah, that
yeah.
was fine. I enjoyed that Godzilla X Kong as well.
So I think this
Um
is yeah, I think this is my least favorite. So is that all the
yes.
movies? How many movies
Yep.
are there? So
That's
there's
it.
two
Yeah, and Monarch, the TV show.
in the TV show, which started strong,
It
but I
started
think kind
strong,
of like
yes.
petered out. Like in the middle, it had a very weak middle, and then it
Yes.
really didn't. I was hoping it would have a really strong ending, but
Yeah.
I thought the ending was like I don't know, okay, but not.
It's okay, yeah.
But there's parts of it that I liked quite a bit. I actually like the flashback story more.
Yes. I
Like
enjoyed the flashback story.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the yeah, and they're gonna. I think they are gonna make more of that, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's like, but I hope the MonsterVerse isn't just gonna like turn into like B action movies for for an international audience. Like
Yeah, I don't
because a lot of
know.
Hollywood movie is that now. It's like the
Hmm.
idea is like if we're gonna make a movie, it has to do well internationally, and it has to be like basically go for a very just be very kind of like I in my mind like very kind of bland and generic,
Mm.
and very simplistic, just to sort of like
Hmm.
appeal to as many people as
To
possible.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
Which might be the case here because it seems the movie's doing well, but I personally think we had better MonsterVerse entries
yeah,
in the past.
oh yeah, yeah,
Another reason could be Godzilla minus one helped it out. This is a very different spectrum. I mean, Godzilla minus one compared to this is completely different. So,
yeah. And there's a case where again, it's like you've got where you have a classic movie, the original 1954 Godzilla,
hmm.
where like in some ways people like also that's another classic movie where people like really like that movie and they want to recreate it. And I think minus one, I think it might have done the best job ever
I agree.
of of capturing like what's good about the original 1954 movie.
But making its
Uh,
own version
but
of it.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the so yeah, we'll also try to review Godzilla minus one, and but we'll do that in a separate video.
Sure, sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. But the yeah, yeah, yeah. So kind of like we'll see. So uh,
Yeah, I really hope Michael Dougherty can somehow come back. I think he knows he knows what he's doing for Godzilla. To me, the music is really big because when I hear the theme songs, like it just connects
oh
back
yeah,
to me. And then when I heard it in minus one, like
oh yeah.
the way they did it, I just had a tear come out of my eyes.
Oh
But
yeah,
in this
minus
one, like
one.
the Mhm.
And also, what was great is at least in the theater I was in, it never like the Godzilla theme has never sounded so good.
Yes,
Like
yeah,
the quality of the performance and the quality of the quality of the recording.
yep,
It was like much more like it really felt like alive. It
yes,
really
yeah,
felt very alive to me. Like
yep.
that, yeah, the music. Oh yeah, yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah,
so
music is a big thing, and I hope Wingard understands that, and hopefully can bring some of those elements into it if he's doing a third film.
So yeah, I think our recommendation is like oh maybe go see Got minus one again. Like once you get the
Definitely see
chance.
minus one. Yeah, if
And
you haven't seen it, it's definitely one of the top Godzilla movies of all time.
yes, and the only one
And
that's ever won an
an
Oscar.
Oscar, yes,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I predicted it when I went to Japan. I said this was a, 10 out of 10 and I knew it was a great movie, so
And I think you
yeah.
told me like in a message like you give like Godzilla X Kong like a four out of 10.
Yes. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is a 4 of 10 for
yeah,
me.
it's a 4 out of 10 for me too. So I don't actually like yeah, so I actually yeah, like people other people that other like just other people I know who, yeah, I tell him, was like, yeah, yeah, definitely go see Godzilla minus one, but it's like nothing. Godzilla X Kong is nothing to seek out.
Yeah. I think it's if you're looking for like something fun, and you don't care too much if they're like Toho characters, this movie is probably fun for like just a popcorn movie, as I mentioned. Like, there's enough. I did, I ended up seeing a second time because my family, my parents and my sister wanted to check it out, and I figured out it's Tuesday night. AMC has discounted tickets, so might as well. And for my second time, yeah, it was fun, but again, like it didn't impress me. Going a second time, like I could have just went the first time and be done with it. And I don't see myself rewatching this film as much as I do with previous films. For Monsterverse, I think 2019 and 2021, definitely the fight scenes were a lot more entertaining than this one. And of course, there's a lot of Toho films like GMK, the Kiryu series, and of course the Showa, Destroy All Monsters. Those fights were great to watch, like the classic fights. But this one was like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. A bit, yeah, a bit, yeah, a bit disappointing.
But if
But
you enjoyed it, I mean, don't let us deter you from seeing the film. You should definitely go out there, support Godzilla, go support Kong. Enjoy it. Just as our personal opinion that we didn't enjoy it as much as we could have. I definitely feel like there was a lot of good opportunities because being underground, like there's a lot of times I was like, oh, maybe they're kind of trying to pull a Mothra 2, 1997 vibe with like those what do you call it? Like the pyramids, and the Iwi Queen kind of reminds me of that the queen in the underwater place, but it didn't really connect that much at the end. So yeah, there was
yeah,
more throwbacks I would have enjoyed, I think.
right, right, right. All right. Well, like I said, it's like, well, stay tuned. Stay tuned for us. Hopefully, we'll also be reviewing minus one
Yes, yes.
very soon.
Yep.
All right. So this is Heisenberg.
And G Forever, hope you enjoy Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.